Okay guys, here's something fun and quirky for you. This is the Aura GoodCat. It's leading up to be the most affordable full electric vehicle on sale in Malaysia very soon. I don't know whether it's the funky name or the quirky looks, but this car is creating quite a buzz among Malaysians. So let's see if this should be your next EV. First things first, the GoodCat has not been officially launched here in Malaysia just yet. That is only going to come in Q4 of 2022. For now, we have an early preview of this car courtesy of Flux, the local car subscription company. Right now, they're running a program which I find really interesting, where you can get to bring home a bunch of EVs for 7 days, up to a month even, for you to try out whether it would fit your lifestyle or your everyday use or not. I think if you're really interested into EV ownership, this is something that you should really consider. They've got a whole bunch of EVs available, from the GoodCat to the Nissan Leaf, the Hyundai Kona Electric, the Ioniq 5 as well. So yeah, take your pick. Anyway, let's get back to the car. Like I said, this is likely to be the most affordable EV you can buy here in Malaysia. Right now, that title goes to the Hyundai Kona Electric, with prices starting from just over 150,000 ringgit. This GoodCat over here is estimated to go slightly lower, around 140,000 ringgit. Now I know 140, 150 isn't exactly cheap or affordable by Malaysian standards, but at least I think the trend is going down. So hopefully very soon we'll find an EV for under 100,000 ringgit in our market. Anyway, what do you guys think is a fair price to pay for an EV in Malaysia? 100,000, 130, 140? Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's move on to the car itself, the Aura GoodCat. The brand is a relatively new one, Aura, and it's a sub-brand of the Great Wall Motor family, or GWM. You may be more familiar with Haval here in Malaysia, which is also a sub-brand of GWM. For some reason, the Aura brand has a fascination with the cat name. So while this is a GoodCat, back in its home market in China, they've also got the Funky Cat, which is a bit of a retro callback to the Volkswagen Beetle. There's also the Lightning Cat, which sort of looks like a budget Porsche Panamera. And speaking of Porsche, this may look a little bit familiar, and that's because it was designed by a former Porsche designer. I think if anyone is to recreate the classic Porsche 356 for the modern days, I think it would look something like this. I don't know, what do you think? Does it look cool, or a bit, a bit too much of a copycat? Again, let me know in the comments below. Now let's move on to the bread and butter of EVs, the most important part before you even consider buying one, the range. This GoodCat comes with an option of two different batteries, the smaller one being a 48 kilowatt hour battery that gives a range of 401 kilometers. This here has the bigger battery pack, a 63 kilowatt hour battery, giving you 501 kilometers over a single charge. But before you get too excited, I do have to mention these numbers are based off the outdated NEDC test cycles. Pretty much all other EVs out there use claim ranges using the newer, far more realistic WLTP cycle. There is no exact science to convert NEDC to WLTP numbers, but most of the time, by moving between the two, you lose about 20% of the figure. So instead of 501 kilometers, you are most likely looking at a WLTP range of about 400 kilometers for this one. The smaller battery will be closer to 300 instead of 400. Now let's move on to charging. The Aura GoodCat has an onboard AC charger of just 6.6 kilowatts. That's a little bit slower compared to most other EVs, which support up to 11. So charging with a dedicated AC wall box will take between 4 to 5 hours for the smaller battery, or maybe 6 to 7 hours for the bigger battery. As for DC charging, this can take up to 60 kilowatts, again a fair bit lower than more advanced EVs, but at full speed it should still be able to get a full charge within an hour or so. That's not too bad. Whichever battery pack you choose, the electric motor is exactly the same. This is rated 143 PS and 210 Newton meters of torque. This isn't one of those crazy fast Teslas. This is designed as a city car. It should be more than fast enough for your everyday use. As for size, it's quite difficult to guess how big this car really is. I think it's all to do with the funky shapes and the unconventional styling. But in overall length, this is actually quite close to a Toyota Yaris or a Honda City hatchback. But at the same time, this is a fair bit taller than those two hatchbacks because it's got chunky big tires. These wheels are actually 18 inches big. And as you can see, the ground clearance is quite significant as well. Overall shape and dimensions, the closest reference I can give you is a Mazda CX-3. It is basically a small crossover overall. But as unique as this car looks from the front, I think it is the back here where I think it is the most outstanding. Because just look at it, there's literally no tail lamps in the back here. The lights are actually embedded within the rear screen, and when you unlock the car, it does this little dance. That looks absolutely brilliant. I think we've come to a time where pretty much all the cars out there look the same from each other. To really stand out, you'd want something like this. Moving on inside, this car has a very oddball but adorable interior feel that I really like. It has a rather unique mix of being modern and retro at the same time, but overall it just really works. At the top, we've got a dual screen white cockpit layout, very Mercedes-Benz. In the middle here, you've got this old school organ switch type. It looks like it came straight off a Mini. And then you've got this Jaguar style rotary gear selector, and the wraparound dashboard is very Audi as well. But overall, I think it really works because this looks and feels every bit like a premium car inside. The material work is really fantastic. At the top of the dashboard is entirely covered by this, I don't know, bare leather nubuck material. It looks and feels like a premium car. You've got the same materials across the seats as well, although in this light color, I'm not sure how long that will last. But at least when it's new, it will look bloody fantastic. You've got some nice stitching on the seats. You've got a knurled effect on the gear selector, quilted leather pattern on the door cards. This car feels every bit like a 200 or even 300,000 ringgit car on the inside. Mind you, this is the top of the range or a good cat, so you're looking at likely around 170,000 rather than 140,000 ringgit. But even then, for 170 you get this interior. Yeah, it's a bit of a bargain, I think. And besides just purely look and feel, this offers a lot of car for your money. You've got a full panoramic sunroof over here, you've got a Qi wireless charger in the middle, you've got climate control, you've got Apple CarPlay, you've got a full suite of ADAS including adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, you've got 360-degree cameras, auto parking, everything you come to expect from a modern car, it is all in here. One unique touch is that just like a Tesla, you don't need to start this car at all. All you have to do is have the key on you, jump in and just press on the brakes, and this car is ready to go. Same goes when you're parked, just pull up the handbrake, get out of the car, lock it, and the car will just turn itself off. You don't have to worry about pressing a pesky little button to turn it on and off. But I do have to mention this, that screen, I've only had it for a while, but that is super annoying. It doesn't look very good. It's kind of small for the bezel size, and the buttons are absolutely tiny. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. Just changing the fan of the aircon is just so difficult. You have to press this tiny button and then press this. You don't even get a plus or minus button. You have to choose exactly what fan speed you need and say I want the minimum fan speed. I gotta press, yeah, it's gone away now. I need to restart the whole process again. Fan button and click on this tiny bottom line of the fan speed. Yeah, when you're driving, that can get dangerous. And then of course, when you're driving, obviously you'll be having your Apple CarPlay screen on, like so. So when I'm driving, how do you think I'm going to change my aircon controls right now? As you can see on the right, all the shortcut buttons have gone away. So to change the aircon, I have to scroll right, press Aura, and then look for the tiny fan button, and then change the fan. Yeah, that is infuriating. Now in the back here, you get plenty, I mean plenty of legroom. I am 167 centimeters tall, but even if you have far longer legs than I do, you are not going to hit the front seats at all. This is super spacious. Headroom you might have a bit of an issue with, because sitting up straight, my hair is just about touching the ceiling over here. So yeah, for taller people, you might have to slouch down a little bit. As for the seating itself, the floor is relatively high compared to the seat, so you sort of feel like you are squatting on the floor a little bit. As you can see, my thighs are hanging off the seat a little bit, but you can just slide your feet forward and lean back. I think this is fairly comfortable even for longer journeys. It helps that the seats are just very nicely shaped for a nice long drive. Other than that, unfortunately you don't get any rear aircon vents, but you do get a single USB charging port. And while the front of this car just screams pure class and quality, in the back here, yeah, everything starts to get a little bit scratchy. But overall, I think the cabin is just about nice. Moving on to the boot space, and it's a bit of a disappointment because the official claimed volume is just 228 liters. I can't quite remember the last time I've seen a boot this small. I think that was a Perodua Viva or one of those, and it really is that tiny. I think you would struggle to fit anything more than 2 cabin bags in here. Anything more, you'll have to fold the rear seats down. So strictly in terms of practicality, I wouldn't say that this is any more practical than a Perodua Myvi, but as an EV city car, I think it does its job. Now I have driven this car a little bit, but nowhere near enough to give you a full proper review just yet. But cliff notes, I think in terms of performance, this is more than good enough. Especially from a stop, from a standstill, this gives you enough of a punch to go up to 70-80 kilometers per hour. And in terms of normal cars, I think this is similar to a 1.5 litre turbocharged engine, and a pretty powerful one at that. In terms of range, I've only been driving it for a little while, but I think you can expect no more than 400 kilometers on a single charge. Handling is pretty decent, and the same goes with the ride quality as well. It's a little bit busy, a little bit bumpy at low speeds, but it does settle as the speeds rise. Pair that together with the very premium feeling interior, quirky ergonomics aside, I think it makes a pretty compelling package. Choosing between this and the Hyundai Kona Electric is going to be a tough one. So there you go, our quick look at the Aura GoodCat here in Malaysia. We'll give you a much more thorough video review once it's officially out. But for now, what do you think of this most affordable EV for the Malaysian market? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and stay safe, everyone.